All right, let's go over this exit ticket. So this is one-step inequalities. So the first problem says, what is the solution to 3 is greater than or equal to x plus 12? So the first thing you should do is you're going to draw a line down that inequality sign. You circle your variable because you know you want to leave that alone, but you also want to get it by itself. So this is the side I'm going to start with, and it says x plus 12, so I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. And then I type in 12 minus 12 is 0. And then over here, 3 minus 12 is negative 9. And my sign stays the same. So I find the one that matches. This says x is less than or equal to negative 9. So the answer is A. All right, number 2, graph the solution to the following inequality. So I'm going to rewrite it over here. I have n minus negative 2 is less than negative 1. So the rule I've taught you guys to try to remember when you see minus and negative is keep it, switch, switch. So the n stays the same, that negative is now plus, and that negative 2 is just 2. So now I can go ahead and set it up to solve it. I draw my line, box in my variable, and I want to get this all by itself. Isolate the variable. So when I read plus 2, I know the opposite is minus 2. Whenever I do to one side, I do the other side. So positive 2 minus 2, when I type that in, I get 0. So now I have n is less than negative 1 minus 2. You can type that in your calculator, and it gives you negative 3. So the circle should be open, and it says n is less than because it opens up to the larger thing. So less than always means left. So the correct answer here, you, number 1, have to make sure it's on negative 3. So this one goes negative 2, negative 4, so right between those two would be negative 3. And it also says n is less than negative 3. So this matches. The problem with B is it's going to the right, so that means greater than. This has the wrong number. So that's what's wrong with those two answer choices. All right, number 3. Which is a value that will make x plus 8 is greater than negative 2 true? So I'm going to rewrite it and go ahead and solve it. So I know I want to get this x by itself. So I'm going to do the opposite. The opposite of plus 8 is minus 8. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. So positive 8 minus 8 does give you 0, so you can cross it off. X is greater than. Negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10. So if I go ahead and graph this, here's negative 10, 0's over here, this is negative 20, just to put some numbers on the number line. And this says x is greater than because it's opening up to that. So it's going to be an open circle, so negative 10 is not included, and I want to go to the right. So now I'm going to look at all these numbers and figure out which ones are to the right of negative 10. Negative 10, if I plug it in here, negative 10 is not greater than negative 10, it's equal to. So we do not choose that. Negative 6 would be over here, so that one is good. Negative 12 would fall to the left, so that's not true. Negative 15 would also fall over here to the left, so that one's not true. All right, number 4. So we have negative 3 times x is less than or equal to negative 18. So you want to draw your line, and we want to leave the x alone. So this says negative 3 times x. The opposite of negative 3 times x is divide by negative 3. So I divide by negative 3 on both sides, so that should register in your brain as, oh, I need to do something to this sign. So when you divide by a negative on both sides, or you multiply by a negative on both sides, that is the only time you're going to flip that inequality sign. So I'm going to turn it the other direction. These cancel out, so I have x is now greater than or equal to negative 18 divided by negative 3 is positive 6. So I look at the answer choices, and x is greater than positive 6.